Hey, welcome to my channel where I talk about my dolls, and that's literally it. And in this video, I'm going to be answering questions about my dolls. It's because I hit 500 subscribers a couple weeks ago, so I made a post in my community tab asking if anybody had any questions that I would do a Q&A. And it took me a little bit of time because I have all these videos planned and I kind of had to shoehorn this in somewhere because I realized I like to post on Tuesdays and Saturdays. It makes my videos feel like they're 3.5 days apart. So I'm just like shoving this in, and I hope that's okay. Instead of when I ask the questions, because there was a lot of crossover people like asking very similar questions, I'm just going to thank everyone in the beginning who asked questions, and a few of you, I guess you're, because of what I said, you're worried I wouldn't have enough questions for a Q&A, so you're like, okay, here you go. So I'm going to thank I'm going to thank everyone who asked questions, and then I'll get with the answering of the questions. And since I'm not really doing anything but talking in this video, I've surrounded myself with dolls just so you have something to look at, because I'm going to be looking back and forth between my laptop and the camera as I answer the questions or read the questions. So first I'm going to thank Elise Elliott, PJ Rocks 93, Ladera 01, Veggie AG 2005, Cat Dog Mom 155, and AG Dolls Down Under for asking questions, and some of you asking a lot of questions, and then most of you asking similar questions. So all right, starting with the first question. If you created a historical character, what year would it be? And if you created a girl of the year, what would they look like? What would their story be? I think they don't really do the same decades. So I think realistically or historically, it would have been 1866 or maybe between 1866 and 69. But I think it's okay to make this character I would want to introduce 1870. She would be the child of a Chinese family who immigrated to America to help construct America's first continental railroad. And she could even have like a brother in the story who worked on the railroad because they were working people as young as 12 years old. I think she would be a bit younger than that. And I don't know if girls worked, but I think that'd be a really cool story to delve into because we haven't had any Asian historical main characters. And as a Canadian, I'd be interested too because we had the same immigration over here. We had a lot of Chinese people move to Canada to help build our rail, or mostly it was like they built like 90% of the railroads here in Canada. And I think it might have been the same in America as well. And I would just love to see even maybe a new East Asian sculpt would be fun, but it would be fine if it was, no, they could bring back Truly Me 4. Just thought of that. So I'll throw that in there. It's my story, right? And for the girl of the year, I would want her to be a girl with a twin brother instead of having like a best friend. And their characters, she would be, the athletic, sporty one, and he would be more into theater stuff and not as athletic. So there would be like, to subvert the normal storylines that you would have with a brother and a sister character. And I think it would be nice if we got a sculpt that hasn't been turned into, the closed mouth boy sculpt. So maybe Joss, this is the Joss mold beside me. And I would love to see Joss made into what they consider the boy sculpt. And I'm fine following along with the closed mouth being a boy and, smiling, showing your teeth being a girl. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to, bring in some faces we haven't seen be a girl of the year. That's my way of saying we don't need to see Josefina every year. Please show us a different sculpt. And the next question, if you could have American Girl make one accessory, what would it be? Okay, this first one's probably silly, but it would be a working hair crimper for Courtney. And that's just because I want a crimper that would work on dolls so that I can crimp some of my 80s dolls' hair. But I know that would be not safe for kids. So my more realistic one would probably be like something else in Courtney's world, like maybe a dresser, something to go with her bedroom set with the bunk beds. Because I have a lot of Courtney clothes or even clothes in general, but I like I have a dresser in my display with Courtney, and it'd be nice if it matched better rather than me just sticking stickers all over it to make it look like it's kind of 80s. And the next question, if you got control of American Girl for 1 week and all your decisions would be permanent, what would you do? And I'm going to cross it over with other questions because the answer is going to be similar. And the other questions were, what 4 face molds would you like to see in CYO options? Create your own options. And if you could create your own AG doll with any possible options. So those kind of bleed together for me because, first of all, if I had control, I would put more molds in the CYO shop. especially Claudie. I mean, I already have like 16, maybe more. Yeah, I think I have 16 Claudie dolls, like from the sculpt, because I have like 10 of Claudie and 6 of Tiana. But I could always use more, and I'd like to see her in different skin tones. Maybe make one really fair skin with albinism. I already have a doll with albinism with the Addy sculpt, but that's something I would like to see. And as far as adding more sculpts, not just Claudie's, I would want to see more closed mouth options than just the Kaya sculpt. So it'd be really fun if we could make, because I've given in, to me the closed mouth dolls, except for Kaya, she's special, are boys. So I would like to be able to make more boys in the shop than just using the Kaya sculpt. So it'd be really fun if we got to see like the boy Addy sculpt, or even Jess or Sonali. So that's 4, right? Yeah, 3 boys. If I was limited to 4 sculpts, Claudie, and then 3 of the boy sculpts: Addy, Jess, Sonali. Oh, and another thing that I would definitely make come back in the CYO shop, or if I had control over American Girl, bangs, wigs with bangs. I really miss bangs. I love dolls with bangs. They look so like innocent and childlike. So it's I got into CYOs too late because I can't make any with bangs at this point. And this is just for me, and I don't think I would actually do it if this was a real life, because it's not, so I can say it. I would make no more outfits that expose the cloth body. Like I don't care if it's a turtleneck. I don't care if it's like a short sleeve, long sleeve. I don't want to see my dolls' cloth bodies because it breaks the illusion for me. But I know lots of people love like halter tops and like strappy tops. So I wouldn't do it selfishly. I wouldn't really do it. I'm only doing it in my selfish world. And the next question is your least favorite and most favorite historical character. And for me, I'm talking about the character, not the doll. My least favorite character is Kirsten, just because of what I know of the different characters from the books. Her story, I know, like I know her books. She seems to be more of an antagonist in her story, and everybody's getting her out of trouble. So I think, like, that's cute. Don't get me wrong, she's a kid. But I think just because of that, I would choose her as my least favorite. But that's just having to choose. I'm not somebody who likes to have negative opinions. I like to, I don't know, I'm not a very, there's nothing really hateable about, for me, anything in the American Girl world that I've encountered. So that's just me forcing myself to pick a least favorite. And my most favorite historical is obviously Claudie. It's the doll. It's the story. I like her book. I like her character in the book, and she's the only one who, in my mind, is the Claudie from the book. Like even Courtney, whose book I've read her 2 books, or if she has more, I've only read the first 2 then. And so I don't really see Courtney in my collection as the Courtney from the books. This is a very sadistic question. If you had to evacuate, what 3 dolls would come with you? I mean, truly, I would only be able to grab so many, so fine. um, but I would have to go with dolls that are hardest to. It would be hardest to replace. I mean, I know most people choose something sentimental, but for me, I wouldn't even choose the most expensive. I would choose Truly Me 4, Cecile, and my Pleasant Company Samantha, who's right behind my head, just because those are dolls I wouldn't want to chase again. It was just a fluke that Truly Me came locally. Same with Cecile, and she came at the right time. It was my birthday, so I was able to justify buying her. And the PC Samantha behind me, there was just something I love so much about her face that if it came to one, I'd probably just grab her. But that would never happen. I would never have grabbed just 3 or 1 doll. And the next question is, what's the best deal you ever got on a doll? If we're talking about American Girl, I wish. Like, I'm somebody, I don't really have a lot of luck. I don't want to say luck. I'm very fussy about the dolls. So, I mean, aside from sales that I've gotten in store, I don't really look for a deal. I just want to love the doll. And even if the seller wants a little bit more and I can get not the same one that I love as much for a better price, I'm probably going to spend more and get that doll just because I love it that way. It's like, for me, I'm like curating my best possible collection for me. So I don't mind what I have. And to an extent, like if somebody wants something ludicrous, I just wouldn't get the doll and that would be the end of it. But I'm saying I'd rather spend a little bit more. So that's why I think the only deals I've gotten were when Indigo in Canada, our bookstore that was carrying American Girl for a few years, they stopped carrying them, so they were clearing everything out in the end. And I got a couple $35 dolls, and a couple that were a little bit more than that, but not as cheap. But I already had those dolls; they were already in my collection, so they were just for customs. So it's probably the most honest answer: the Indigo $35 clearance dolls, which was a Truly Me 91 and a Truly Me 77, two Truly Me 77s, because they were just so cute. What are my three favorite American Girl books? And I think the first answer is probably obvious because I'm biased. It's both the Claudie books. Like I said earlier, I love the character. It's the doll and the character I've really fell in love with, so that's an obvious answer. But my actual most favorite book is Courtney Friendship Superhero, and a lot of that has to do with her friend character, the character who's introduced, Isaac Wells. And I just realized that that's he and Claudie have the same last name. That's so bizarre. But I really love the scene at the pool. If anybody, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's something that happens with her friend Isaac, something that was happening in the 80s that a lot of people were getting sick from. And because I grew up in the 80s, it's a big fear I've had like my whole life, not just for that particular disease, but like diseases in general. So I think that part of the story really resonated with me. And I thought it was really impressive that they would put that into a children's story, because it's something that's not really talked about anymore, and it was handled carefully. But I mean, if you were in the 80s, nobody was handling that topic carefully. It didn't matter how old you were. I was only like 6 or 7 during Courtney's story. I'm younger, like I would be younger than her character, and I was well aware of that disease and the way people felt about it and the people who were most victimized by that disease. So anyway, that was a pretty long answer, but I really like that book. The next question is, whose collection would you bring back? I'm going to say Addie, because I've already bought too many of Samantha's outfits. I have a few on order, quite a few on order, Be Forever and her classic. But I do think I probably would want more Samantha outfits, just not now that I've bought them on a secondary market, if you know what I mean. That's me being selfish. But I really love a lot of Addie's collection. I only have a couple of her outfits, and I think I would have a lot more if they were more accessible. Because I find Addie outfits are really expensive, at least in my experience, and locally especially, are really expensive. So her collection coming back would be amazing. And I would even, you know what, I don't want her collection to come back because I don't know where to put everything, and I would probably want it all. But I'm still going to stick with that answer. The next question is, what's your favorite American Girl memory? And this is a really good question. I really liked thinking about this, and all of a sudden it hit me. And it was December last year, so 2023. I got a new job, and I knew I wasn't going to be starting for like 5 weeks. And my displays in my living room, the room surrounding me, that I've shown in a doll room tour, I was only partially, like, it was one of those things where I was like, I just had to work on a little bit at a time. But then once I knew I was going to have 5 weeks off to do whatever I wanted, I just buckled down. And I was like, I have 5 weeks. And it was, just working, like, it was almost like a work day, working on these shelves, getting all the wallpapers put up and the dolls set. Because I even had to modify the shelves because they don't fit 18-inch shelves, or more like 20-inch shelves when you make room for the dolls. So I had to modify them with some wire rope clips. I've never really talked about that. I should have explained that in my doll room tour, maybe next time. So it was a lot of work, but I ended up, and I thought, okay, 5 weeks, timing it, but I couldn't stop myself. I was done early. And then I just remember like sitting down and looking around and be like, this is amazing. And I have like 2 weeks off left, 2 more weeks to enjoy it. But then they called me in a week early. So it's a good thing I didn't like spread it over the whole 5 weeks. So anyway, that is definitely one of my best American Girl memories, was everything coming together. I guess I should have said starting this YouTube channel too, huh? The next question kind of bounces off that. How do you come up with your dioramas, which is referring to in each of the shelves in my detail cabinets, I have a little scene set up for dolls. So it'll be like a wallpaper that matches their colors, and then some kind of play set, whether it's furniture or just accessories, their animals, whatever. They're all different. And I don't really think I come up with the dioramas. I think I just buy the doll, and then I think, oh, I want this chair to go with her or him. And then I look at the colors, and then I'll go on this website called spoonflower.com, and I'll have some kind of idea, as in like, oh, this doll is in the 1970s and she has a lot of orange in her outfit or whatever. And so I'll kind of look up like 1970s flowers, something like that, and then I just look for the wallpaper that suits my entire, well, it's not my vision because it just kind of puts itself together, if you know what I mean. So it's actually, the ideas come up with themselves. I'm just like the vessel who's like, okay, I'll put it all together and then enjoy it. And this next question kind of goes with that too. And the person asked, or said, your dolls have stories, meaning like some of my characters, I don't go with what their book stories are. I put characters together and then I just come up with these weird dramas in my head. Do you write them down, and do you have a story in advance and then purchase dolls to fulfill it, or do you get dolls and then create their story? There's a bit more to the question, but I'll stop there first to say I don't write stories down. It's not even really stories. It's more like characters. So if I bought, like, for example, I bought Mary Ellen and she had a lot of amazing clothes. So I wanted to buy some of those outfits to put other dolls in and then put in her world. And then when I saw the dolls together, it was like the stories just kind of formed. And I was like, oh, let me get another character because I have this other outfit and I can see where there's a space for this playset of Mary Ellen is still in that example. So it kind of just goes like that, and it's like kind of silly and juvenile, and I don't know why I share them out loud in these videos, but I mean, you can always like mute me, right? I can't mute my thoughts. And then the other part of the question was for your sister dolls, and that's why these two two cowboy type ranch characters are here. Are you going to create a diorama for them? So that was actually an example where I should have explained that when I bought Truly Me, what is she? I wrote it down. I think she's 31. Truly Me 31 here. When I bought her, I found her locally, and it was a doll I really liked because of the red hair. She's kind of unique. I thought, oh, I had a 15% coupon in American Girl for American Girl, and they still had the newer version of this doll. So like the updated version of Truly Me 31. I think she's Truly Me 120, 121. I didn't write it down. Oops. So I bought her, and then I thought, okay, they're going to be sisters, obviously, because they look so much alike. And so I started looking for outfits, and then I found on Maple Leaf they had these kind of coordinating, kind of ranchy, farmy kind of outfits. And there was one more who was, I thought the outfit would be good for a boy. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to make them a brother. So that's kind of like, that's how it evolves in my head. And yeah, there will be a scene, but not a diorama because I don't have any more diorama shelves in my Detolf cases. So that's how I'm limited. So like I'm limited to how much I can evolve a story, because I also like to want to have dolls that are just on a shelf and they can just be dolls and I can just not be so ridiculous all the time. And the next question is, what are the 3 most expensive dolls in your collection? I'm going to exclude the limited edition dolls. Oh, you know what? I'm not, because that is the question. So I have limited edition Jasmine, who was already in my possession. So she was 300 plus tax, 300 US plus tax. And on my Visa statement, because I'm Canadian, that ended up being about $450. So definitely the most expensive. And I have pre-ordered Barbie, the Barbie by American Girl. So I'm going to count her too, because I've already paid for her, even though she's not here. She is still like technically in my collection. And so the most expensive doll after that would be my Cecile, who I did the math and I forgot. I think she was like 380 Canadian, new in box. And that was probably about 200, 210 USD. I forget now, but it's a lot less when you convert it. So for me, it felt like a good deal, and she was local and I love the doll. She's perfect. And I actually have a video planned about doing my most expensive dolls outside of the limited edition ones. I think that's why I started answering the question incorrectly, because I was thinking about how I want to broach that topic in the future, and that's to talk about my most expensive secondary market dolls. And the next question is a little bit of a, oh, did I miss one? Sorry, I thought there was something about, well, anyway, it's probably later in the, sorry. um, favorite piece in my Tiana collection. It's a little bit of a topic change, and it's really, really hard to pick because I have so many amazing pieces. I did a video about it a couple days ago, but this here is not even a doll or anything like that. This is an amazingly rare piece of Disney history. This is what they call a cast and crew yearbook. So anybody who worked on the movie Princess and the Frog was given this book. So it's literally a yearbook. So if you go through it, it's pictures. I don't want to go through all of it. One day I would love to just sit down and do like a flip through. I don't think there'd be much interest, but I just want to have it on my channel, even if it's just for me, because I've never really sat down and gone through it properly. But it's like, it's all the cast and crew. So I guess they would give them out and they would sign off on the books like a yearbook. And one day it is in my bucket list to bring it to a meet and greet with Anika Noni Rose, the voice actor of Tiana, who's not around me right now. Oh wait, she is. She's up there. That's a Tiana doll in Addie's nightgown, and to have her sign it. And one of the questions, sorry, I was because I think I must have deleted a question by accident, but somebody asked, where am I? People were asking what my Grail. Oh, I passed it. Okay, so my Grail accessory or playset. I'm really sorry for this, like unprofessional behavior, but it's nothing new on my channel, right? My favorite Grail accessory or playset is something I already have, and I hope that's not a terrible answer. It's just that I don't have anything on my Grail list right now. I'm pretty maxed out. I'll show pieces from it because I'm not going to bring a big playset over, but it's Tyson, right? Tyson's Ice Cream Parlor from the Be Forever, Samantha's Be Forever collection. And so I brought over these are just like the ice cream scoops of ice cream it comes with, but it's like this really cute glass bowl, like actual glass, and then an actual like metal spoon, and I just filled it with 3 scoops of ice cream just to show the different flavors. It's supposed to be mint, chocolate, strawberry. It also comes with this little working lamp. I don't know if you'll be able to see it because it's so much, yeah, I think you can see it lighting up. It's so much light in here. I have so much glare around me. So I wanted to add this. It's like I didn't really have much to, usually I'm bringing stuff up on the table during the videos, and this candy dish. But this is just like a clump of candy. I don't even think it comes out. No, the clump of candy doesn't come out, but it's really cute on the display inside the playset. So that is I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but it's one of those pieces that I wasn't able to get in store because I didn't collect back in, I think, 2008, the person bought it. I bought it locally from someone who bought it for her 8-year-old daughter, and it's in unbelievably perfect condition. I can't believe, I at 8 years old and I really cared about my stuff, I don't think I would have kept it in that good of shape. And then the same kind of question is for the Grail doll. I don't have a Grail doll right now. I've been really, I don't know if lucky is the word, that I've just been unhinged buying them. But my first Grail was truly Me 4, the first Grail I wanted, and she was the first Grail I found and had in my collection. And then my most recent Grail, and she wasn't, I don't even know if she was on my Grail list. So I was like, I'm never gonna, you know what I mean? It was just like, I'm not going to bother chasing her because I tried a couple times and it failed. But anyway, it's Cecile. So she's come up a couple times in this video. So that's why I'm surprised I was able to skip over that question. And now, the next question is, what is my niece's favorite doll? And I happen to have the doll because I bought her for me, and then I loved her so much I bought her for my niece too. And I knew she would like it because it's very kid friendly. So this is a Disney Illy Forever doll. Mine has 2 different size legs, so I can't stand her up. So she's just here for the sake of showing her. This is Olaf, and to date she is the darkest skin tone Disney Illy Forever doll. And when I got her for my niece, was it for Christmas maybe, last Christmas? I've never seen her carry around a doll and treat it like she was treating her nicely. She was holding her like a baby and being nice with her hair. I think she's trying to get me to buy her more expensive dolls, because these are good for kids because they're kind of inexpensive. I have her dressed in Tiana. The only outfit they've done Tiana for Tiana, not this doll, is this pajama set. So she doesn't have this pajama set. It wasn't on the site for very long, so they're hard to get now because it's Tiana. They don't make as much stuff when it's Tiana. And so she loved the doll so much, she asked me, because my nieces, they're half black and half white. I'm kind of trained, I guess socially trained to say biracial, but they prefer being called mixed. So they're mixed race, half black, half white. So she asked me, she loved her so much, she wanted a white doll to go with her to kind of represent, both her races. And one day, I guess I should try to track down, I think it was Snow White, who was coded very mixed race or biracial. So if they do another one, I'll be sure to get her that one, and maybe it'll be even more her favorite because she'll identify it with that doll the most. And then the last like set of questions. It's kind of like three questions that go together. I get asked this all the time in all videos and like pretty consistently. And it's so the three questions that kind of go together are: is your partner a collector? Is he supportive? Would you date another collector? And I've actually answered this in the but people ask it so much. I'm like, I should just say it in a video, and then it's there. Like, refer to my Q&A. So whatever's left of this video is going to be kind of talking about this. So my partner is not a collector. He didn't know that collecting was a thing. He didn't grow up. He's a very like he grew up in India, so he only moved here in 2018, and he was never exposed to such, let's say, commercial habits. He's spiritual minimalist. And so when I kind of warned him when we first started dating that, I have this Instagram big account. I'm a collector. My collection's so big that I have a big following on Instagram because people like my dolls. And he knew that, but he didn't know that until he like saw it. So when he came over after a couple months of dating, he came over to visited my place, and we were watching a movie or whatever. And while we were watching the movie, he later told me that he texted his friend, was like, I'm at such and such address. If anything happens to me, send the police here. Because he was not familiar with dolls. And that sounds very shady, but keep in mind that not only did he not know about doll collecting and did not see in dolls, I had so many dolls in this living room, and he said he just felt like they were all staring at him, and they looked like little mini mannequins, and a lot of people are afraid of mannequins too. So it was just, but not only was he not familiar or aware of these such things, it didn't deter him from dating me. It wasn't like a red flag, goodbye, see you later. It was just like, I guess, a sort of slap in the face, like, oh, you told me, but I had to see it to understand it. So to say supportive, I don't know exactly what that means. His way he puts it, and this sounds negative, but it's cute and I think it's funny. He says he's made peace with me being a collector, which means, like, he's going to have this in his life. It's something he didn't know existed, and now it's like, it surrounds him, and he's just used to it, I think is what he means. And it's just like, it was very strange for him, very foreign, but, he cares for me enough that he was willing to, again, sounds so negative when you put it into words, but I don't think it's as negative as it sounds. And I don't take it negatively. I take it like, yeah, I know what this looks like. I'm not deluded. I mean, I'm deluded, but I'm not like out of reality. So I know that anybody I would ever date would have feelings about that. And would I ever date another collector? I think it would be hard to fight over space. And as far as my dating goes, I've always been in a long-term committed relationship. So like my first one was in high school, and that person wasn't a collector. He because it was in high school, I wasn't collecting yet, but we were we're together for about 8 years. So at some point in our relationship, he had to adjust to me collecting. But I mean, that's not a big deal. We were together for years when that started, and so supportive, yeah. I guess I would say he was supportive because we were younger, and I don't need supportive now because I'm an established working adult. I buy my own stuff. And back when I was younger, we would get each other gifts, and so yeah, definitely like was a normal thing. Well, it was something he took in stride, not in any kind of way. And then my second relationship was like from my mid-20s, and that relationship was in total we were in each other's lives for 15 years, and for him, he had trouble adjusting when I would change because switch collectibles. Because when we first met, I was like horror collectibles, like Living Dead dolls, Chucky. These are the things I loved when I was a young adult. My first thing is getting into collecting, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But then with my second relationship, I went all over the place. And I remember sometimes he'd be like, when I wanted to collect Disney limited edition dolls, he was like, "You're gonna collect dolls for little girls now?" And I'm like, wow. You should have known me when I was a little boy. I was way worse at collecting things for little girls. So it was always like, there was always a little bit of an adjustment for him getting used to me changing, until he got used to the fact that I'm, once I have enough negativity with the collection, this is becoming a really long answer. Yeah. So there was always support, and I don't think I would ever be able to date another collector just because we'd be fighting over space. And now in my current relationship, we're going on 4 years. And so, as I already indicated 5 minutes ago when I started blabbing about this, or rambling, was, he's made peace with it. And I think that's all you can ask for. Like, you don't need somebody to like march with your dolls or like partake in it in any way. He just, they're just like background noise for him now, which I think is the best possible outcome. Is just somebody just gets used to it and they don't even notice it anymore. And if they were ever uncomfortable, they move past it. So anyway, it took me a little bit longer to do this video than I hoped. And so I think I got all the questions for now. And, it's another video to say thank you. And I know everybody really enjoys the dolls, and I do too. That's why I had this channel. And yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I think I'm going to stick with Tuesday and Saturday whenever possible. And I'll just, if I need to for whatever reason, because I have so many videos planned that I'm going to be, like the other new ideas. I'm like, no, don't think of new ideas because you have months worth of videos to get through. And I don't want to have like, an anxiety attack and not record anymore. So anyway, yeah, so Tuesdays and Saturdays is what I'm going to aim for, unless I need to shove in another one to make my list not keep getting longer and longer. So thank you for joining me on this video. To anybody who stuck around for this long, I need a drink of water. I'll see you in the next one.